In the previous program entitled Creation and Expansion of the Universe, we saw what the science of the 20th century found out, namely the Big Bang phenomenon, as well as the continuous expansion of the universe, both of which God of the Bible informed us thousands of years ago. But in this program, did you know that the 21st century science has found out, before having any continent, the entire surface of the earth was covered by water? Before we begin, I would like to thank Dr. Hugh Ross, a world-renowned scientist, someone that found out the truth of the Bible through science, and also Reasons to Believe, the organization Dr. Ross founded. In Psalm 104, we read how the psalmist exalts the Creator and says in verse 1, "O Lord my God, you are very great." And in verse 5 describes the earth and says, "You, that is God, who laid the foundations of the earth." So I put those verses there so you know we're talking about God and we're talking about earth. Now notice verse 6 describes the condition of the earth and says, "You covered it," that is earth. "You covered it with the deep, as with a garment. The waters stood above the mountains." So the Bible clearly says that the depth of the waters were above the tops of the mountains. But if you search the internet and ask, when did science find out the entire earth was covered by water? You will see information such as the National Science Foundation, an independent federal agency that supports science and engineering, confirms that Earth was a water world in the past. Psalm 104 was given to us some 3,000 years ago. When did our scientists find out? It was the year 2020, which is in the 21st century, just a few years ago. But before we look at what else the Bible tells us, remember two important points for any scientific observation. One is the frame of reference or point of view, and two is the initial conditions. So let's keep these in mind as we go over the Bible from the scientific perspective. What does God of the Bible tell us in the starting verses? Genesis 1:1 tells us, "In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth." Notice that the frame of reference is described by the phrase, "in the beginning." This is where the Creator brought about the dimensions of time and space, the phenomenon that scientists discovered in the 20th century and called it the Big Bang. Now, in the very next verse, God shifts the point of reference to the surface of the earth and says, "The earth was without form and void." Without form and void in Hebrew, tohu and bohu, makes reference to the state of earth being lifeless. And the rest of this verse further describes the initial condition and says, "And darkness was on the face of the deep." And the deep in Hebrew, tohum, refers to the presence of deep waters. This verse clearly indicates that frame of reference is at the face of the deep, or surface of the water. The Bible, in continuation, makes it even more clear and adds, "And the Spirit of God was hovering over the face of the waters." So we can see that the Holy Spirit continued his work by moving over the face of the waters. By the way, the darkness was due to a very thick layer of clouds, preventing sunlight to shine over the water surface. Now, how long do you think the atheist scientists can resist the Bible that has regularly predicted their scientific findings? How about you? Are you into science? Will you examine the uniqueness of the Bible and its redemptive message for yourself? The God of the Bible in Jeremiah 29, in verse 13, gives this promise to me and to you. "And you will seek me and find me when you search for me with all your heart." May you seek the God of love, search His Word, and receive the gift of life He has prepared for you. Goodbye.